the Swiss investor here. I'm going to walk you through my full investment journey, starting at Swissquote and growing the portfolio with DEGIRO, and eventually reaching my goal of 100,000 Swiss francs before transferring my portfolio to Interactive Brokers. As you can see in the screen, 30th of August 2019, before Corona, when the euro Swiss franc exchange rate was still quite a different reality of 1.0875. I had back then a small position in Nestlé shares worth around 5,500 Swiss francs. It was a very simple setup, one stock, no leverage, no foreign currencies, just a little bit of euros, 16 euros, just cash and equity in Swiss francs. That's it. You can see the performance of the Nestle stock was good with 1,590 Swiss francs plus, or 40.2% gain. The performance of the portfolio was negative. This is due to past trades in options that were not so nice for me, but the performance of Nestle stock compensated for that. So what happened? In January 2020, I started transferring my portfolio from Swissquote to DEGIRO. The main reason was costs. The cost factor from Swissquote for doing a trade was much higher than at DEGIRO in January 2020. I first transferred 5,036 Swiss francs because, of course, COVID happened. The stock market went haywire. And in January 2020, I could transfer this amount of 5,036 Swiss francs slowly to DEGIRO, starting 27th January. It then followed with additional deposits, which I used to build up my holdings over time. My initial investment included individual stocks and VWRL ETF, Vanguard FTSE Award, which is euro-based. You can see here a graphic of my portfolio development. It's not perfect, the graphic. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea of the timeline and the events that happened during that period. So as I mentioned, in January 2020, I started with DEGIRO and I started transferring my portfolio. You can see small deposit coming through, and all the deposits. I will show in another graphic soon a little bit more detail, but this gives you an idea of the Corona crash. The lowest point on the Corona crash in the stock market was here. I wasn't that invested, so it didn't affect me that much. And the build up of the portfolio over time, reaching 175,000, including leverage, and then selling it up and liquidating the portfolio to transfer it to interactive brokers. I try to create a graphic with a bit more details, but it's still not perfectly accurate. But you can see the use of my negative positions. So start with a bit of leverage. I rebought Nestlé stocks here because on the Swissquote to transfer it to the DEGIRO, the costs were quite high, so I sold there and then I transferred the Swiss franc amount. So I rebought the Swiss stock, the Nestlé stock only in the end of 2020. And then you can see that deposits were really only added already by the beginning of 2021. The initial 5,000, then the 4,000, then another 10,000, which is a major deposit. Then I comment on that on my video series of reaching my 100,000 Swiss franc portfolio. So you can go in the details of the portfolio development there, also the market development and the deposits that I made. But you can see the main deposit points here, which were significant. Those deposit comes from, of course, savings. You can say that the most of portfolio gains were not due to stock market gains, but rather through savings and deposits, and some of the gains post-Corona, 2021, 2022, the stock market was quite good, and it's helped it out. So you can say it's a combination of both. Then you can see me selling the assets in Swedish krona, Norwegian krone, and so on and so forth, going down to zero. At the same time, I was building it up in the interactive brokers. So from 2020 to 2021, I invest actively on stocks like Daimler, ASML, AQT, Hexagon, Brookfield, Nestlé, and so on. Some of the positions were in foreign currencies, euro, US dollars, Swedish krone, Norwegian krone. Occasionally, I used leveraged, for example, via negative balance in money market funds. Over time, this position were closed and the proceeds were converted back in Swiss franc, either manually or automatically by the DEGIRO. Here you can see right in the beginning, this is 31st of March of 2020. The amount I had in my account was 13,000. The portfolio value was 16,800 with some 3,000 in leverage. The positions were Nestlé and Roche, which are my go-to base portfolio, and Vanguard FTSE All World ETF in euro. Of course, at Giro, this was the best ETF I could acquire, and I built up those positions. You can see also, as I mentioned, this in more details on my series, reaching up my goal portfolio of 100K series. By August 2021, I reached my milestones, as mentioned before, with some deposits. but also with very good performance. You can see some of the performance for 2021 in here. They were not bad, so it helped a little bit. It was, of course, only contributing 10,000 Swiss francs from the 100,000, but nonetheless, it was quite good. I reached the 106,244 with 4,761 in cash. The rest was in equities and ETFs. Most of the positions were in profit, as I mentioned, like Nestlé, Johnson & Johnson, and ASML. So all quite good. And then by the end of 2021, I started selling off my positions. ASML, Daimler, and others were sold. Proceeds were credited first to the currency account, for example, euro, then automatically converted to Swiss francs, and gradually I withdrew the funds to my bank account. The total cash out was 102, 238, and 41 cents, because by the time there were some volatility in the market, and I lost some of this amount. Of course, the whole motivation to change really to VT, to interactive brokers, was to be able to reduce costs, because DEGIRO was bought by Flatex. They start changing some of the variables, like they closed the Kroner money market funds. They start charging for amounts above 3,000 euros or 3,000 Swiss francs on your account, a negative interest. And by the time interactive brokers had changed also their conditions. Before, you needed to have 100,000 to have a free account at interactive brokers, and at the time they changed that. Although I had reached the 100,000, but they had changed that, meaning you could also have a account free of charge with amounts lower than 100,000 Swiss francs. So I opened an account in interactive brokers and start transferring the positions there. To transfer the positions from DEGIRO to interactive brokers would have cost a fortune. So I had to sell all of them and repurchase through interactive brokers. One big advantage of Switzerland is that there are no capital gain taxes, because if you would be in Germany or in the US, you would have to pay a lot of capital gains on all those positions. Would be a tax nightmare. So at the interactive brokers, I, instead of having the ETF in euros based in Ireland, the VWRL, I could purchase the VT US based. So VT is US dollar based, Vanguard Total Worth ETF, and has a total expense ratio of 0.06% compared to VWRL, which is 0.22, and is euro based. So the long-term cost difference were massive. Also, the cost of the leverage, interactive brokers offers much better conditions for leveraging your portfolio, which I'm going to go into in the next video. So I'll show you how my portfolio is today and how this leverage is used and managed. The journey shows that with discipline, clear strategy, patience, and savings, you can grow from small beginnings. Change brokers from Swissquote to DEGIRO and then to interactive brokers helped me reduce fees, gain access to more global assets, and control currency risk more effectively. Of course, the Giro and the flat exchange sort of helped me or pushed me towards internet brokers. Reaching 100,000 Swiss francs also helped me to have certainty that I'm not going to pay anything. But in the end, internet brokers gives for this size of portfolio much more flexibility and advantages to reach other markets and work with currencies. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, I'd like if you'd like to subscribe, like and subscribe, and for more content like this here on the Swiss Investor, let me know if you have any questions, and happy to answer. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.